They'll know that we use canvas shopping bags, not that.
More.
This is called Brian Futzes with his microphone.
Is this too distracting? Seriously though?
I don't think so. What are people going to be upset about? They're like, vegans have pictures of animals.
Do you like the turkey?
That's so cute.
In this episode, Brian and Anna redecorate their kitchen. Join us, won't you?
Hi, I'm Anna.
And I'm Brian.
And we are
Those annoying vegans. And today we are going to show you how to make a classic, the meatball. But, obviously, since meatballs contain eggs and, of course, ground up animal flesh, we're going to veganize it.
This recipe is so tasty, you can even eat it raw. And I guarantee if you try that with animal flesh balls, you will probably get sick. Also, very importantly, we are adding a healthy dose of nutritional yeast to this recipe, which contains the very elusive vitamin B12, which you can only find in animal products.
1.5 tablespoons of nutritional yeast contains 130% of your recommended daily value.
And as always, this recipe is delicious, affordable, and easy to make.
So let's make it.
Let's make it. B12.
B12, you can only get it from animal products. That's what I read on the internet.
Do your research, Brian. Read some scientific journals. Or the Baltimore Post-Examiner, out of all things, had one of the most comprehensive articles I've ever read on B12.
Here's the thing about B12. You consume it when you consume an animal product. Yes, in the same way that you consume calcium when you consume cow's milk. It's there, but it's not the best source of it. And in fact, with B12, the animal doesn't even produce the B12. It comes from the bacteria in the animal's gut. There is bacteria that lives in the soil. The animal, in theory, would eat grass, which would have little clumps of soil attached to it. Now, I say in theory because, as we know, on factory farms, not a whole lot of natural eating going on.
Yeah, nowadays, chickens are not pecking in the dirt. That's why they're not getting enough B12. Cows live on factory farms. So what happens then? Vitamin B12 supplements. 90% of all vitamin B12 that is produced in the world is given to livestock.
Because the animals are deficient?
Yes.
You would be too if you were locked in a windowless room for 23 hours a day and were only fed corn.
Vitamin B12 deficiency is not a vegan problem. It is an everybody problem. There is a study called the Framingham Offspring Study, which found that 39% of the general population has a vitamin B12 deficiency, and that is not limited to vegans or older people.
Early Homo sapiens did get their B12 naturally, but early Homo sapiens also did a lot of things that we don't do now, like perhaps drinking from a pond or a stream, or eating dirt, or tiny bits of feces. Not something we probably want to do nowadays.
Because cholera.
We figured out indoor plumbing and waste removal.
And chlorine.
And chlorine. Those are good things.
Our ancestors actually used human feces as manure, and they called this night soil. So if you ever hear night soil, it's not because your beautiful, bright full moon is shining over the soil and making magic happen like I imagined in my head for some reason. It's a little darker than that.
It's human
But they also got a ton of foodborne illnesses via fecal contamination. 90% of chicken sold in stores has fecal contamination.
We don't live like our ancestors anymore. With that comes a lack of B12 in the sources where we would normally have gotten it. But we also have iPhones and this camera and this video that you're watching on the internet.
Hence the vitamin section at your local CVS. That existed before veganism was a thing.
Sure
which
did.
means that many people are probably deficient in many vitamins. Don't be afraid to take a vitamin B12 supplement, guys. It is recommended that you do.
The healthiest, cheapest, safest source is to get a vitamin B12 fortified food or vitamin B12 supplement, not to get it from meat and dairy.
We only need a very minute amount of it. If we have an excess of B12 in our bodies, it will not be stored. It will just come out in your pee. But if you're not consuming enough, it will be stored. This is Dr. Michael Greger's recommendation.
The cheapest way to get our B12 is probably one 2,500 microgram sublingual, chewable, or liquid supplement of cyanocobalamin once a week. Some people would rather get into the habit of doing something daily so they don't forget. So how much would you have to take if you wanted to take vitamin B12 once a day rather than once a week? 250 micrograms or more is all we need.
We already eat a lot of fortified foods, by the way. Before we were vegan, we ate fortified foods. If you've ever looked at orange juice, it's usually fortified with vitamins and calcium. If you look at breakfast cereal, it's usually fortified with minerals and vitamins, including vitamin B12.
We saw, for example, that your average chocolatey, crispy rice cereal at the store contains 25% of your daily vitamin B12 value. That's in 3/4 of a cup. Who eats 3/4 of a cup of Cocoa Krispies? Not me.
One could argue, like, well, vitamin B12, you can't get that if you eat just a vegan diet. Okay. It also doesn't have cholesterol or the high risk of heart disease or type 2 diabetes or heart attack or osteoporosis or a myriad of other things that go along with eating a diet that's rich in animal products. Kind of like the milk thing, how they say milk does a body good because it has calcium.
Yeah, but it also destroys your bones.
Put that down here. Destroys bones.
Side effect.
Side effect.
Destroys
Your
bones.
bones may be destroyed. Particularly one thing that comes along with the B12 in the animal products is cholesterol. You get a lot of cholesterol for very little B12. Not a good ratio.
100 grams of a chicken breast has 0.30 micrograms of B12. In order to get your daily B12 value, you would have to multiply that by 12. Even meat eaters would probably agree with the fact that 1,116 milligrams of cholesterol is too much.
It's probably just easier to take the supplement. As we said, the animals are getting the supplements already.
Also, very importantly, vitamin B12 is not readily absorbed into your bloodstream if you're taking antacids. Guess who's taking antacids?
Let me think. What would you have to eat that would upset your stomach a lot? We as vegans will say things like, hey, you wouldn't go up to a chicken and grab it and bite into it and eat it, right? People go, no. Okay, that should tell you something. And then meat eaters go, that's a ridiculous argument. It's so stupid.
Some fucking wacky dude who's saying if you're really an omnivore, you should be able to eat a squirrel, just grab it and eat it raw. And like,
Yeah. No.
it's just the most bizarre
There's some strange arguments out
arguments.
there. Like,
Yeah.
How is that not an argument? We literally pick apples out of a tree and eat them. We pull carrots out of the ground and lettuce and tomatoes off the vine and we eat them. Does it make sense for you to eat a chicken? You wouldn't eat a chicken naturally, so don't eat a chicken. It doesn't matter that someone else killed it and plucked it and cleaned it and packaged it and put it in a store for you to buy at your leisure. It's still a chicken, it's still a cow, it's still a pig. At the end of the day, that's what those foods are.
Yeah, their lives. My argument keeps being, why do some people think they can just own a life like that? Just because it tastes good? Because once you establish that a vegan diet is healthier, then there is no other argument that they can use other than I don't care.
It's a hard one to combat. The I don't care argument. People say, oh, animals are here for us. Whether it's a religious point of view, as though God put these animals on earth for our consumption, which seems weird,
Yeah.
seems pretty cruel. Furthermore, I don't know that he had factory farming in mind, if that's
Not
the
in
belief
Genesis.
system. But then there's also the secular point of view, I guess, which is like, hey, they're here, it's something for us to use, let's use it. The morality of that kind of gets into that weird, super cerebral, like, there is no good or evil. There's just your opinion of what's good or evil.
I think we all intuitively know what good feels like and what bad feels like.
Most people wouldn't want to just take the knife and kill a pig.
Some people still do. They have small farms. They hunt out of necessity due to their location.
But not the lion's share.
Not the lion's share.
People living in Western society. Most people just go to the grocery store and buy a chicken breast.
And those are the people who are getting sick.
Also, violence towards animals is not a natural thing, right? We like to cuddle puppies and kittens, and we like to pet barnyard animals, and little kids get really excited when they say, oh my gosh, it's a bird, it's a turkey, it's a pigeon, oh my gosh. That's our general instinct. And those children that abuse animals in childhood, that's usually a marker
For
mental sociopathy.
Illness. So why in children and not in an adult?
It's just something that has to be weaned out of you. This is a chicken. It's so nice. This is a chicken nugget. They're different. They're separate. They're not the same thing at all.
Yeah.
Except they're totally the same thing.
If you go to the kids section of any toy store, it is filled with animal stuff. Stuffed animals, barnyard sets, books that make little sounds. Hear the cow say moo, and then you hold your child's party at a McDonald's.
So guys, if you like this video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe. We are closing
Almost at
in
1,000.
on 1K.
Yeah.
What's
How
going to happen?
exciting. And share our videos, most importantly. That really gets us out there.
A good friend of yours was like, oh dude, you have to watch this video. You'd probably watch it, right?
Yeah.
So you would just be the dude that talked in that little scenario that I just made up. And we did just start our Patreon account, so if you like what we do, if you want to contribute, that would be greatly appreciated. We want to keep this thing going, we want to grow it, we want to do this full time, that would be lovely.
We need a, we're hoping our next purchase is going to be a, what do you call, something better?
Yeah, it'd be nice to get like a horizontal bar, like a rig for our camera, because right now we use...
have this.
Basically, I took a tripod boom mic stand and just
Taped it.
jerry-rigged the out of it. It'd be nice to have like an actual camera rig, get some diffusers for the sunlight so that our lighting doesn't constantly shift like it does. But we do the best we can with what we have. And that's kind of what we ask you to do, right? Do the best you can when you can.
We're always going to bring you guys awesome videos. We're so thankful for your support. And check out our Instagram and our Facebook page. Guys, Have a Heart Ranch rescued a cow.
Oh, we're going to go see the cow.
And she's pregnant. We're going to have a
pretty cow.
baby soon. Yeah, we're going to go meet her today.
Bye.